Greetings, our Frederick Riddle here with another episode of Christian News and Views. This is episode 297, and this is Tuesday Bible Talk. Well, this is our continuing with the Tuesdays as well as the Thursdays, and I'm enjoying it doing this way. I hope you are too. Today we pick up the Bible Talk. We're still talking about Christmas, actually. Um, at the time when I started, Christmas was fast approaching. Now it has come and gone. And I've been talking about the birth of our Savior. I've been using my book. I'll show it to you here. Right there. So, what's true about Christmas, and it's an updated version of it. And today we're going to be looking in the chapter called The Resurrection. So, let's do a quick review and then we'll get right into it. So, we start out with the visitation, which was in January of 3 BC. And he was born in September, possibly, I believe it was probably September 11th of 3 BC. He was born in Bethlehem of Judah. Now, I want to do a little update here. I just recently read somebody who obviously has opinions about this, but I think it comes from a groundwork of disbelief more than anything else. They insult the writers of the Bible, and they also insult people who ask genuine questions. And in this particular case, it was about Bethlehem. And you could tell right off the bat, he says, the writer in the book, and one of the authors of the Gospels, and I think it might have been Luke he was referring to, but the thing was, he says, well, he made an assumption. He wanted to have something that he could say here, and that this was the Bethlehem. He made Bethlehem more important than it really was, something along that line. I didn't go very far into it. I'm not really interested in expressions of disbelief. It all comes down to that disbelief. It doesn't, and the so-called facts are usually made up or twisted. But what they call it today, put a spin on it and things of this nature. But I just think so. I want to clarify this. It is the Bible was very specific about where the birth of Christ would be, and it mentioned in Micah 5:2 exactly where he would be. That's no assumption. That is not an imagination of any writer. It is in Micah. You go to the book of Micah, chapter 5, verse 2, and you'll find it for yourself. So he was born in Bethlehem of Judah, or as they call it, Bethlehem Ephratah. It's a very specific spot. Yes, there was another Bethlehem, and it was actually closer to where Joseph and Mary lived than this one. This one is actually suburbs of Jerusalem. And so it's undebatable. The Bible clearly states it. And if they don't want to believe the Bible, that's on them. But that is what the Bible teaches. And that is where we go. It's because the Bible is our authority. It is the authority. So we hash that. He was born on September 11th, most likely, in Bethlehem. One of the signs of this was the sheep and the shepherds. They were out in the fields. This tells us a lot. These were temple sheep, and they would raise them to be used as for the daily sacrifice. How they were to go up the mountains and down and still be able to provide the sheep, I don't know. It could be they just left a number of sheep back and that would have been much fewer. And then they would be taking one every day, if I remember correctly. I didn't mention that. I didn't go into that part, but that's just speculation on my part, anyhow. But one way they could have done it. They would go up the mountains and back down, and they were in the fields when Jesus was born. That means it's in the fall. So that's one of the proofs, uh, proof text, if you will, that Jesus was born around September 11th. 2 years later came the Magi. We covered that. And now by this time, Jesus and his parents were living in a house, no longer in a stall, but in a house. And we see that when you study it, you go into Luke and you just study it and you read all the references and you'll find that he was in a house. And then they fled to Egypt. Fast forward to where he's about 33 years of age, and he was crucified on the cross. We covered the cross, we covered the crucifixion. So today we are looking at the resurrection. And so I want to take a look at this. And if you have the book, this is on page 97. And if you don't have the book, it's still page 97. But I'm going to read it to you, not that long. And so we'll just go through it, and I might pause here and there to comment. The resurrection details are deeper than this book will go. I will save that for a future book. And that future book has now been printed. It's called What's True About Easter. Many Christians don't call it Easter, but Resurrection Sunday. But it is a biblical term, the term Easter. So you can call it either one. The reason many Christians don't call it Easter is because that was a pagan holiday, not a Jewish holiday. So Palm Sunday is, and then you have the Palm Sunday, and you have then we call the Resurrection Sunday. They didn't, and that's the following Sunday, really. So you got a whole week in between. And so probably the best title is Resurrection Sunday because it's very specific as to what Sunday it is. Because it varies on your map, on your calendar. One year it'll be on Sunday, one next year it might be on a Saturday, and so forth. And so they call it one day, the Resurrection Sunday. It is also important to remember that the Jewish day began at sunset, approximately 6 p.m. And that's very important because we as Westerners, we don't think that way. We think of a day. Today's Tuesday. So we think of Tuesday as beginning at midnight and going to midnight, from midnight to midnight. And if we divide it, we divide it into day and evening. But biblically speaking, their next day started at what we would call dusk. And then at dawn of the next day, well, actually, what in their case that would be about midway through when you get to dawn. Just about. Let's see. No, let's see. Yeah, because that'd be from 6 to 6. That'd be 12 hours. So then you have dawn, and then you have the rest of the day until 6 o'clock again. And so it goes from 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. Or if you want to think of it another way, it goes from 6 p.m. to 5:59 p.m., something like that. And so they don't think the way we do in terms of days and weeks. And so you got to make that translation in your mind. Well, if you've been with the Bible for any length of time, you've already don't have any problem with that at all. So let's take a look, a really brief look at the resurrection. Remember, this is covered much more thoroughly in What's True About Easter. Jesus was tried and crucified on April 5th of 30 BC, which make him 33. He was in the tomb Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Well, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Yes, 3 days. He was also in the tomb Wednesday night, Thursday night, and Friday night. 3 nights. So you have 3 days and 3 nights. He was resurrected after 6 p.m. or yeah, 6 p.m. Saturday. And so the thing is that he arose on Saturday night, but our terminology, which begins there Sunday actually. Therefore, you have resurrection Sunday. So he arose on Sunday. So he was, so let's put it this way. He was crucified on Wednesday. He was in the tomb Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. He arose on Sunday morning, sometime between um, dusk and dawn, somewhere in there. Um, we just got done doing an experience Bethlehem, in which it portrayed that. And so it was during the night, sometime during the nighttime, that Jesus arose. Now, did uh, uh, did the stone have to be rolled away for him to come out? No, that stone was rolled away so they could look in and enter in, because those stones were big. You just don't walk up to it and roll it one way or another. Now, in our play that we had, there was one time when the stone didn't move like it was supposed to. And the leader, which happened to be my pastor, very calmly, while he was continuing his narration, just walked over, put his hand on it, and rolled it out of the way. And I'm standing watching the whole thing. It was amusing. I was really impressed with how he just made it look like it was just part of the scene. But the thing is, that's not the way it happened. It was rolled away by, you might say it was an angel rolled it away. You don't see the angels, but one angel would have all took, but and it could have been the lowest level angel. If there are levels, like, and It's a Wonderful Life, where that one was what was he? He called himself an angel second class. So even an angel second class could have moved that stone away. But the thing was, it was moved away so that we could see in, so that the ladies did not go in, but both John and Peter went in first. They entered in to see it and to see the robe that was neatly folded, and the cloth that had held us. They put a cloth around your face so to hold your mouth shut when we die. Our mouth goes so like that, and so they do that to keep that was right around here and then holds that up so it doesn't happen. So the stone was rolled away during the night. Jesus appeared to Mary Magdalene shortly after they all came up. She left and then came back, and she thought he was a gardener. It was actually Jesus he revealed himself to her, and she was not, by the way, allowed to touch him because he was on his way to take his blood, the offering that you and I benefit from, and to take that and put it in the mercy seat in heaven. So that's pretty much the whole thing here. So let's just cover some of the things that we did, and I'm gonna bring my thing up here. We'll go through this a little bit. So, going through this again, what we have got, the visitation. We believe that took place in January, could have been December, but it was probably January of 3 BC. Some people have it 4 BC, and some even have it around 2 BC, but most of the evidence points to 3 BC. He was at the age of 12. He went to the temple. We didn't really cover that, but then he lived and with his parents. And somewhere in his lifetime, his father died. We don't know when, how, whatever. But Joseph's job was done. He raised his son. His son became a carpenter, just like he did. He was. And so Jesus now became the head of the family. And that's because he was firstborn. So and by the way, he was born there in Bethlehem. We covered that earlier. And he was 3 BC. We covered that. And so he was born spent the first 2 years of his life in Bethlehem. Then they fled to Egypt, where they stayed for a time, and then returned back to Nazareth, where he finished and grew up, and he was a carpenter, and everybody around there knew him, and that's why it was so hard for them to believe that he was the Son of God. They not that he ever did anything wrong, they just knew him as that nice little boy down the street, and so they had a hard time relating. Some did. And eventually his entire family came to know him and love him as their savior. Then there was the sheep and the shepherds. We talked about that and how these are temple sheep, and you have to have a very rigorous care for them. I've been reading a book, the 23rd Shepherd looks at the 23rd Psalm, and I read it every year, and I've been reading it this year. I haven't finished it yet. It's right here. So let me show you this. So here you have this kind of there we have it, the whole thing. A shepherd looks at the Psalm 20. I don't know if you still get this, probably can, by Philip Keller. It's worth whatever they charge. It is a fan. It goes. This man spent a lifetime. He grew up in East Africa on a sheep herder's uh, ranch. Um, when he got older and was a young man, he bought one, and he spent 8 years of his adult life raising sheep. There are other people out there who have studied it and looked at it, but this one here, if there's such a thing as a gospel about raising sheep, then this would be it for the not for the shepherd. The shepherd want more detail than this goes into, but this one here goes into the Psalm 23 and explains it step by step what's going on. And so it's a fantastic book that I would recommend to anybody. And I won't get a cent, folks. I don't market that book. As far as I'm know, it's still copyrighted and so forth. So uh, if it ever is, I might, if it does go public, I might buy the rights to it and print it myself. But the thing is, it's right now it's available. I think it's available. At the time, it was by Zondervan, so they still might have it. So we looked at all that, and then today we looked at well, actually we finished up with the cross and the crucifixion, and then we today we looked at the resurrection. Well, you can't look at Christmas without seeing Easter. If you only look at the baby, then you're only getting part of the story. The real story, the whole story, is from the birth of Christ to the resurrection of Christ. That's the real story. And that is the one in which you need to have, if you're going to tell somebody, wish them a Merry Christmas, that's fine. But somehow, if you can, and you can't always do so, but if you have the opportunity, remind them that Jesus came into this world. He was born into this world to die for you and me, to die in our place. That's why he came, to die. So that's going to close off our study of what's true about Christmas, and we're going to start moving on. And Thursday, I haven't decided yet. I'm thinking of doing a special message just for New Year's Day, and then after that we'll pick up the. I'm not go. We might go back to where I was studying before, or we might start something new. Haven't really ironed all that out yet, but you stay tuned and you'll find out yourself. So you'll be the first to know. But in the meantime, I hope you had a great Christmas and that Christ was an important part of that. And as you do approach New Year's Day, that is a man-made holiday, but why not include Christ in that as well? I don't know about you. I'm already looking back over 25 and seeing how God has been in my life. Since my wife passed away, I thought I was walking close to God at the time. but I have drawn closer and closer and closer. Am I perfect? No. Am I where God wants me to be? Well, for right now, maybe, but not ultimately. Eventually, He wants me and He wants you to reflect the image of His Son. And so, got a long way. I've come a long ways, folks, but I got a long ways to go as well. And so do you. But the thing is, make sure that Christ is part of that celebration. Just think of it. Think of how He has blessed you. Maybe you've had some hard times that He's helped you get through. Well, thank Him for it. Thank Him for His guidance. I just recently I was doing a part-time job in which I turned in my resignation, and tomorrow is officially my last day. Although I haven't been doing that job now for almost 2 weeks. But the thing is that God's led me away from it. I don't have that anymore, and I'm kind of glad because I'm 82 years old, so some of the work was getting a little bit more difficult for me to do. But the point thing is that God got me that job at a time that I needed it, and now I don't need it anymore. And so now He's leading me on, sort of like leading sheep. He's leading me on to a new, fresher field, and I'm already in that field. I was in it a little bit, but now I'm getting into it, and I'm going to get into it even more in 26. So hopefully, and you will see that more and more. Hopefully, you'll see it just in the way I talk, the things I cover, the things I experience, and I share with you. I do a coaching thing. I go, that's kind of, I've been doing the coaching, but I'm going to maybe take it slightly stronger, or I haven't decided how I want to make some changes in that, but we'll see how that goes. My whole prospect going forward is that this is like I'm moving from one field to another, and I'm seeing all this lush green grass out there for me to munch on. Well, you have a great day. It's again, keep Christ in the New Year's. It's not part of the name there, but He belongs as part of your celebration. You have a great day and Happy New Year. See you. I'll see you on, if you're not familiar tomorrow, then on Thursday, I will see you in Bible Talk. You have a great day.